Hey guys, welcome back. It's been quite a long time. I have shared any sessions with you, so thought of coming back. And today I'm going to show you how you can use the regular expressions that um, are available in UiPath. The activities for regular expressions that are available in UiPath. So let me just show you quickly one CSV file. Here I've just dumped user data saying user details having username, contact number, email ID, address, and all those fields. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the regular expression activities to validate each field present in this user data CSV file, and I'm going to set the status as successfully validated or not. And also in the comment section, I'm going to write which field failed exactly. So let's get started. So first I'm going to do I have to create a regular expression for first name. For that, I have to decide what is the pattern for the first name or for the last name or for the contact number. It should be the ideal pattern that it should follow. Suppose, for example, for email ID, the pattern should be always like this. It should start with something, it should have an @, it should have some provider name, and then this is the pattern, exactly what it should follow for an email ID. So let me just show you quickly for email ID validation using the regular expression pattern. So let me just go to UiPath. Here I've just read the source file path. That is nothing but this Excel file, not Excel file. This is a CSV file. I've just opened it in Excel. So yeah, so the first thing is I have to read the CSV file. So I have to use this read CSV activity. Here I'm gonna put my variable that I've created. This variable, you must be thinking where it has come from. So this variable, I've used it from the above activity, which is get source file path. I've created a variable saying input file path and assigned that file path to this variable. So I'm using that file path here, and then the output must be a data table. So I'm going to create a data table saying employee DT data table. So here my data table is employee DT. Now what I'm going to do is I have to iterate through each row of that data table in order to validate the email ID field. So here I'm going to provide my employee DT data table, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a variable to the field actually. So I'm going to create a variable here saying email ID, and then I'm going to assign that value to this variable. The value is my row, and exact column name I have to provide is email ID. This is the column name, and then .toString. Then what I'm going to do is now I have to validate the email ID. So how do I validate? How do I create a regular expression? So if you write here match, you can get two activities. One is match, other one is matches. So is match is nothing when you validate a field with a pattern, and it is going to return you a boolean value saying true or false. If validation goes through, then it is going to say that the validation is successful and the output is true, and if it is not, then it will set the flag as false. And what is this matches? Matches is nothing but an activity where you can use your regular expression pattern in order to fetch values from a text field. So the pattern, it is going to search for each and every uh, string values in the text field, and it's going to tally the pattern that you have created or provided to it, and it is going to fetch those values and put it into a list of collections. Then you can use those values, and this is nothing but a data extraction sort of uh, like data extraction you can do using um, from a PDF file or from a text file or from a document. You can use this one to fetch the data out of the file using the regular expression patterns. But for in our case, I'm going to use isMatch because here I have to validate if it goes through or not. So I'm going to drag and drop this isMatch activity and then go to properties. If you go to properties, then you can see the input, pattern, and the regular expression option. So in input, you have to provide the email ID, the input value that I'm going to validate. Then pattern. How do you write this pattern? So if you know how to write regular expressions already, you can design your own pattern here. If you don't know, then no worries. You can always use this configure regular expression option to configure your own pattern. Suppose for email ID field, you have to put your email ID text field here as a text field. So I'm going to copy the first email ID and put there in this text field. Now I'm going to start designing my regular expression. So if you click on this drop down, you can start designing using the activities or the properties that are mentioned over here to design your own pattern. If you don't want to use any of such activities that is available here, properties or the options that are available here, then you can always go for advanced options. So again, advanced is same if you know working with regular expressions, how to design the regular expression patterns, and you can always write your own one. Then there are some pre-available patterns, or pre-available regular expressions. You can see here, right? Email ID, URL, US data, US date, and US phone number. So for these are all pre-available regular expressions available. So for email ID, I have pre-available regular expression provided by Uipath. So this is the community edition that I'm using. So these are the pre-available, expressions in this regex filter. So I'm going to use the email field, and you can see this is the regular expression that has been created automatically. And you can see it has highlighted my email ID text. So once if it is getting highlighted, that means your regular expression has worked properly, and it's validating also the field or the text field that you have provided. So you can do the test here by removing the certain mandatory fields from email IDs, such as @ I have removed from here. So you can see it's not highlighting it anymore. Now if I put @ here, then it started highlighting again. Then if I remove this dot from here, then it is not again highlighting. Then if I put it here, then it's highlighting. Then if I remove this provider from here, then it's not highlighting. So this is how you can do your testing. And once it goes fine, if it highlights and your expression works, then you just need to save it and go to the properties and generate a variable. And you can always create a variable by giving the variable name, saying valid email. In this case, I'm going to give valid email. So the result is a Boolean here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide if it is a valid email. For that, I'm going to drag and drop an if activity, and here in the condition I will just write valid email. So that means if it is true, then I don't have to do anything. If it is false, then what I'm going to do is I have to update the status here as failed and the comment saying email ID is invalid. So for that, I have to drag two assign statements because here I have to update two columns. So for that, the first one is my status. So I have to mention the same here and have to copy the exact column name. I'll copy the exact column name, put it here, and say failed. And I'll do the same thing for comments as well. Comment saying invalid email ID. Okay, so this is done for my email ID. My email ID validation is done. But if you can see here, I just use the pre-available regular expression. Now what I'm gonna do is I have to configure my own regular expression. So I will do it for contact number. So what I have to do next is I'll just drag one more assign statement. I will be reading my contact number now and put it into a variable. So this is just a variable that I have created and assigned the value from my CSV file. So I'll just copy the exact contact number column name. And from contact number, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this special character from here. Special character in the sense I'm going to remove hyphen, and that's it. Then I'll just remove the hyphen. How do I do that? First, let me just copy the column and paste it here and convert it to string. Then there is a function to replace the hyphen or any special character, that whatever you want to replace. So I'm going to use it saying dot replace, then braces that you have to put, then you have to give your old value that you want to remove with the new one. So the old value is a hyphen and I'm going to remove it with nothing. This is how I have done. So here I'm just removing and making it only digits. Now I have to configure my regular expression. So I'll again go to properties and then provide my input here as contact number, and here it has to again generate a boolean result saying valid contact. Now I have to configure my expression. Here I'll just randomly put some a dummy contact number, and I'll just start designing my regular expression. So how do I do that? So it should be always digits, and it should be 10 digits, and it should not have any alphabets. So these are my initial conditions for contact numbers. So I'll just use this property starts with. It should start with digits. So I'll select digit. It should be exactly. So there are more options. These are the quantifiers. You can give the number of fields. So number of characters present in this text field. So it can be exactly the number of character you can provide. You can give it one or more. If you give it, it will. So if I keep on adding it here, it is going to highlight it. But I need here is exactly 10 digits. So I will just specify the same thing saying exactly 10 digits. Then now what will happen even if I specify exactly 10 digits and type something here alphanumeric ABC, it is still highlighting it. So I do not want any highlight if it is alphanumeric. So I'll also add one more condition saying it should end with digit. So it should also end with digit, which is 0 or more. So yes, now it is ending with digits. So now if you see, if I add any alphabets or if I make it 9 digit, then it's not at all highlighting. If I add any, trailing alphabets also, it doesn't highlight. I mean, if you add any trailing alphabets or any leading alphabets also, it doesn't highlight. So let me do that also. I'll add some leading alphabets and add some trailing alphabets. It doesn't highlight. So yeah, so that means our contact number pattern has been created. This is a pattern. You can see the full expression here and click save. So now my contact number pattern has also been created. Now I will again drag and drop a if statement and say here that valid contact. So if it is a valid contact, I need to do the same stuff again. same stuff in the sense I have to copy paste the same activity here saying the status is failed if it is a valid contact number, and the comment is going to set it as invalid contact number. So here just I have to modify only the comment section saying invalid contact number. Now for two fields, I have created my regular expressions and I have done one using the pre-available expression, other one I have created my own. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my data table into the CSV file. So I have to drag this write CSV file activity and provide the path and employ the modified data table. Employee data. Okay, so now it's done. Let me just run the file, run this workflow and see. So before that, let me kill the existing process, which is in Excel. I have opened the CSV file in an Excel sheet, so I'll just kill that. I've killed it. Now let me run this process. So it's done. Let me check the output now. So you can see here, whichever field is having invalid contact number and whichever field is having invalid email ID, it has specified. Okay, if you want to check one by one, you can see for this invalid email ID, this is an invalid email ID and this contact number is an invalid because it's 9-digit only. So that's how it goes. So now you can try it of your own and let me know in the comment section how it goes for address or city or zip code. And let me know how it goes, okay? So yeah, till then, bye-bye. Take care.